Anywho, oh jeez, I've been wanting to do one. Fuck, I ain't one. But it has been my wish to do shows on some things I've been looking at. Our native cousins weren't the only ones with drums. That's something I want to point out. But I believe what's going on here is we're going to be forced to go tribal. Um, these shills that act as our public servants are doing everything they can expediently to destroy the nation that we used to know as Canada. Trudeau was. Fuck, these headphones are a pain in the ass. Hang on a sec. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Yeah, okay. Sorry. Yeah, the headphones are a pain in the ass. I don't know how you guys do it. I don't know. It keeps the heat in because I'm missing the God-given version of insulation on top of my dome. But Trudeau was on not too long ago saying, Canadians don't have property rights. And a lot of people just don't get it. They just don't get it. They can't defer the difference between the person or a person. It's not the person, it's a person. Because everyone has many persons. It's as simple as that. So when I have not caught Trudeau in a lie yet, right? So he's telling you the truth when he's talking about Canadians don't have property rights. Now every man, every woman, everyone has property rights, right? Those of mankind have property rights, right? We are born with them. It's part of us. It's not something you can take away. My thoughts are property. My right to freely express is property. So what they do, the establishment, these shills that sit there figuring how to fuck us, all right? These guys are studying. They're using all your, when you go to work today, tomorrow, okay, just think of how much of your money, okay, how much of your sweat, labor is going to pay these shills so that they can sit down and figure a way to fuck you and fuck this nation. So a Canadian, right? So that would be a citizen person. That would be, an officer of the corporate body. May not have property rights or might not have property rights. And that's got nothing to do with me. As a man of this nation that we address as Canada, I do have property rights. So, with all the stuff, Laura Lynn and that going on with the man fighting in a legal proceeding. Okay? And so here's a man fighting in the legal society against the legal society. All right? And the legal society is daddy. Simple as that. Okay, the man or woman in the black robe is the mummy and daddy of the legal society. Right? That's your daddy. So I don't know. My heart was just like, ripped down when I heard that this was going on to this man, right? And his family. And these people have overstepped their boundaries because now there's cause to harm. There's harm caused to those of mankind. But has that man ever stood up as a man, to be heard and counted, to be seen as a man, or seen as man, or seen as woman. Okay? Once. Did Laura Lynn go in there and plead something? To plead to a higher deity, to a man or a woman in a black robe? Definitely bringing the presumption to fact that she is a child of Canada, that she is property of Canada, that she is that Canada is her co-parent, the BC is her co-parent. Did she stand as a woman? So anyways, there's public law and there's private law. Basically, that's it. And a lot of the law that you see, like in family court, whatever, these are private laws. These are private courts. Right? And it's really important to find out what venue you're at on these courts. Excuse me. Ay, Corona. I don't like this CV-19 bullshit. The reason I haven't been doing any films is I've been really paying attention to it, and through a lot of legitimate folks. And yeah, you get stuff that's like photoshopped or whatever, but you also get stuff that's real. But anyways, yeah, did this man ever stand up? Did this man ever put in a notice who started the court? That's like who's moving the court? Did this man move the court against the establishment, and then had a lawyer, start the whole thing as a legal proceeding? Or did this man, give the AG a notice and everybody else concerned that they administrate his property without right, and then go and get his property? Did this man ever walk into court after putting in a notice that he would be there to bring his property home? Does this man ever wish or require the restoration of his property from the establishment? A lot of folks, they think writing letters is lame, but it's not, man. And first off, it's given fair warning, all right? It's like if you ever received some kind of legal notice, I don't know, from the establishment itself or something, and they'll say, hey, do this or we're going to do that to you. Okay, now the legal society does have a habit of extorting people, and it may be legal to extort a citizen. It may be legal to extort a person of the corporate body. Somebody falls under the jurisdiction of the corporate body, the control, the authority, the dictatorship of the corporate body, like a citizen, right? And with citizenship, right, within the corporate body, you hold title, and your title determines your station. Okay. So I don't know if anybody, I don't know, I feel bad for Laura Lynn. I mean, I'm working, keep the wolves off my door, and as I work, right, I'm getting prepared for another operation, again, after I was run down by 2 cars. Handlebars went through my side, took out my ribs, liver, lung, spleen. I got half lung on this side, and pretty good on the other side. But Yeah, so anyways, I got one of those defective screens that never fucking held, so I'm always in for operations. My small intestine's always getting tangled in the ripped up screen, and therefore it's not getting blood all the time. And therefore, yeah, it's just, it's just been a miserable existence. I do wish to thank the um, old Retzer. He saved my life, the Lord, and Schumacher, who saved my life last time a few years ago. So he's gonna cut me open again, and yeah, he's got a plan, plan B, plan C. But so I'll probably have some time off to do some more of the videos. Um, but anyways, yeah, no, I've been, just been right into this Corona stuff. Um, the other thing about, you know, my fellow man, those of mankind, um, if you wish to stand as a man or woman, you have to stand by yourself. I mean, I've helped folks, and I do help folks. Um, depending on the need, depends on what kind of donation they shoot me. So I can also pay my own way here. I mean, I can't sit down and work things out with you for the next 30 days if I can't cover my bills. And and basically what I do is I help train folks up, you know, basic proper style to write a notice or a letter, um, how to conduct yourself, um, being careful of key words, because when you're talking to these high priests, these priests or priestesses of the hierarchy, if you're talking to a person's daddy, they have a foot in the two-dimensional and they have a foot in the three-dimensional. And if you come in as a shill, they're going to see it. I mean, these guys do this all day long, every day, every day, every day. Now, how long that's going to hold out on this land, I'm not quite sure. I mean, the foundation here is still common law. All right, this is still the land of man. But how long before it gets switched, I'm not sure. But what I do see is like, listen, guys, it's only been 5 years. Okay, within 5 years, this nation has been halfway destroyed now. With only 5 years. These shills, these actors, these public servants, this man or this woman who acts as a public servant and all their groupies, they're working day and night to destroy this nation. So, because if they can destroy the nation, then they can reshape the nation. They're not happy not being in full control. If you look at what they're doing everything that China does now, or they're leading up to it, especially with free press, with property, with freedom of expression. For every man and woman has a right to all these things. Canadians don't. Okay? Citizens don't. British Columbians don't. And they're always talking about being in Canada. Like, I listen to Laura Lynn, and I do. I cringe. I cringe the way she speaks. And it's not her fault, because she doesn't know any better. She's ignorant. Therefore, she's a child. And therefore, she needs daddy to protect her, daddy to correct her, daddy to instruct her. They don't look at these things as so-called punishment. What they look at, what the legal society or the establishment does is they more or less say, justify their actions to one of their persons, to correct. Because you can't have one of these persons just running around the country willy-nilly without being controlled, just in case they harm a man or a woman of this land or another person, right? This is why you have stuff like criminal compensation, and a lot of people don't know about it, but every province offers it, because if there is a crime committed and you incur harm, loss, or injury because one of their citizens, one of their persons, one of their officers of the establishment cause harm, loss, or injury, then you can apply to the Criminal Compensation Board for restitution. This is why they have it, right? These folks up in the Privy Council, these people that stand or sit or maintain the position of high titles, they know this shit. Trudeau operates on a trust, man. So on his trust, any benefit that he receives from his trust, he is liable for 10% tax on it. That's it. Okay, I wanted to talk about something about the coronavirus here. So, I'm going to bring you this guy. He's a lot smarter than I. I did download his model. I'll do the best I can to put the fucking link up to his site. But this is what he does. He does these computer models he's been doing it for years for a living. His best friend is in the medical field. I don't know how much experience just in the medical field that he has, but he knows his numbers, he knows his computer models. He lost, I guess his only client, which was a fairly big one, in China at an early stage, which is why he got interested in this. Where am I? Oops. Fuck. Doing this dude. Why is he still up? That's weird. That's weird. That should have changed with... Oh, fuck. There it is. See? This is what we're coming back to. These are my roots. It's funny about the plaid army. I bet you a lot of guys don't understand plaid. Okay. So this is what you call a tartan. Alright. And the plaid, if you go over to Scotland, Ireland, the plaid is the sash that you wear on top. Right? And that's the plaid, and this is why this is called plaid. Right? And these are their colors right here that they're wearing. So, but I just want you guys to just take a look at this for a minute. But just remember, everything that the establishment is doing is to put the people of this nation under attack. Okay, so we're being attacked by. Let's go over here. Where I'm at. Oh yeah, okay, I got it set up. So we're being attacked in pretty much every aspect of our lives. All right. The establishment here is like a big octopus, and every arm that they can come into your life and disrupt your life, your prosperity, take advantage over your ignorance, they are doing it. They are doing it. You know, with that man over there, when that first happened, and this was why, you know, if you go to, I don't know, I think I named the show proper, but if you go into my shows, it'll show a basic, where I do a basic notice to the establishment, and you know, with the correction of my property. Right? These are not children. All right. I'm not a daddy. I'm not a mummy. All right. I'm a father or a mother, and there's a big difference. You know, I am the author of those kids. Okay. So I am the author of that property that I wish to have educated. That I have a right to have educated. But here's your limitations. All right. Here's what I wish for them to receive there, and this is all I wish to receive. And you know how we as a family unit, and this is the other thing, because the establishment has been after our family units on this land for many years. All right, the destruction of the family unit's been going on here forever. I mean, CBC has been reporting. I mean, you know, it's hatred. Like, all I hear from CBC for the most part is why you should hate people, why you should hate God, why you should hate people who believe in God, why you should hate people who don't think like you, the justification of your righteous indignation. This is on and on and on, and it's like this loop recording. That's all those fucking shills do. And I want you to watch too that how many reporters are going to be showing up in public with this government virus being released. Okay, I would like to call it government death. But how many people? How many people are going to be going out in public? Now, right now, I see a few, but this government virus, this government death, it you know, it compounds quickly. You know, I was doing something on a computer model I got from this guy up on the screen. This guy's a lot smarter than I am. But I just want you to look at this for a second. I was trying all morning to be able to bring it up on my streaming, but my live stream. Now, let's see. You know, through the frickin' computer. All right. So there we go. All right, what this is his model here. So what I did was I put in, and you know, if you can't see it, well, I'm doing the best I can with what I have. But I put our population in as 38 million. I put 15,000 in bunkers, or that are immune. All right. So this is where Trudeau will be in here, in the bunkers. I believe he'll throw Freeland under the bus, because that's what he's just using her to throw her under the bus. She's useless. People keep telling me how fucking smart she is. She's the dumbest bitch I ever seen in my life. You know, she's what my brother's dad would call an underfucked bitch, and that's the way she looks. That's the way she talks. And so to hell with her. You know, I don't wish this virus on anybody, but it could, you know, give us a good cleansing of the shills on this land. So our initial infection was on the 25th of January. This was our number one case. Okay, so 25th of January was a month ago, right? No, not even. All right, the infection rate I put at 2.50. You know, the reason I did this, and I did incubation time for 12 days because they're saying, you know, first they're saying 3, and then they're, you know, 14 days. Now they say 24 days. So I figured I took half, you know, the 24 and cut it in half to 12 days to average it. The mortality rate to 2%, which I believe is low, but it does accelerate with the model here. Okay. And virus burnout rate 2%. Oh, and the death pool panic trigger 1,000 deaths. Okay. So what I entered this stuff. Now, here we got, like right here, I got 18th, okay, of Feb. So right now it's the 19th. So 18th of Feb. Oh, I know we have 8 confirmed cases. So in the computer model, it's showing 9. All right. No deaths, no new fatalities, no total fatalities. Now let's see if this be true. Hey, Cranky Frankie, not like he would watch my stuff, but yeah, another man stuck in being a person and talking about parents and children. Why don't you guys get this shit correct, okay? Identify your property. Identify yourself as the author of property. Quit being fucking pseudo legal fucking persons. You're pissing me off. You know, you guys are bitching and complaining about pedophiles and that's, and nobody ever claims their property. Nobody ever stands on their rights. They try to stand on some kind of color of rights that Canada gave its citizens. You know, Canada doesn't give a man or a woman anything. All right, they can only offer benefits that you can freely choose to take, accept, use, or choose not to. And the minute you find that a benefit of Canada does cause harm, loss, or injury, you know, to I or my family, then I don't wish to accept the benefit at this time. Thank you very much. You bunch of trustees that are supposed to be managing the natural resources for everyone on this land and not selling them out to the world and stealing our inheritance. Anyways. Okay, so look at this. Okay, so I got the 18th of Feb, right? Okay, it's day 24 of the virus since we noticed it in Canada. I got six new infections here, and total infected 9. Now, right now, we're 8, I believe. And now, let's see the first day, okay, the first day of March, okay, which will be day 36. All right. So in 12 days from now, let's see if we have 24 total infected and see how good this model is. And 1 dead. All right. Now with this model here, it shows it shows our panic day on June 5th. Okay, that's when we're going to hit 580 deaths, 24,000 infected that we knew about. All right, or 1,000 deaths total, and 500 that day. That's when the panic button will hit in Canada. It's going to be. It's already too late, guys. This shit is hit the fan. It's already too late, and I'll show you why. Yeah, so this computer model is expecting, you know, over 2.5 million Canadians to go. All right, to leave the planet forever and ever. So, 2.5 million Canadians. Don't tell me that fucking Trutar didn't know about this, because he did. All right, and that professor that was allowing this virus, you know, out of our germ warfare plant, our germ warfare center in Winnipeg, which has been there for like 50 years doing this shit. That professor that was allowing those two Chinese professors or scientists or whatever to smuggle this stuff out. Well, he has a mysterious death. He goes to Africa to make a lecture and has a mysterious death. Was it the corona? Did the corona get out here and then those guys took it back there? or did they accidentally? I can't see. Well, I don't wish to see that. That this was let loose on the population on purpose, but it could be. I mean, could be. It could be a call. Um, I don't wish to see that. Um, this one guy I used to listen to, but I had to cut him off. Man, he's going on. Well, if this was laboratory virus from Chinese government, you know, I don't think so because they would certainly do a better job than that. It depends. What if they just wish to get rid of the old, and this seemed pretty good, to get rid of the old folks. What if the old is disabled? All right, because don't forget, pretty soon there's going to be pharmaceutical shortages. Um, Definitely food shortages. Manufacturer shortages. Get ready for this, guys, because this is going to happen fairly quick. Because what is it? Every year, like the Chinese New Year is big to you know the folks from China. Like it's huge, and a lot of Chinese folks, the only holiday they take all year is just for this Chinese New Year, which can go on from a week to almost 3 weeks. Actually, depends how much fun they're having, I guess. But so China plans for it every year, and so they make sure they got stocks and whatever, manufacturing, everything shuts down. Now we went through that. That's why you guys aren't finding shit missing on store shelves yet. Okay, so we went through that, and but now it's gone into overtime, and because it's gone into overtime, that's why that dictator, right? The guy that Trudeau would love to be, Trudeau's daddy, she, right? So this is why he's talking about putting people back to work, anyways, because you got to get manufacturing shit, right? Now, also, and the crash of the economy, of course, but also take a look at it this way: they didn't contain it. Nobody contained this. This did not get contained. So, um, what do we have? We have this thing out of control. Well, if containment can't work now because we're way, 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 way behind the virus, then um, might as well just put everybody back to work. Whoever dies, dies, and survives, survives. And a lot of stuff that people don't understand. It's like the Spanish flu. Okay, imagine this. You got the Spanish flu. Okay, so you have no jets and planes and big, 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 big cargo ships and cruise ships. Okay, no Greta Thunbergs, sailing the seven seas, right? None of that crap, right? But you do have some cargo ships. You do have world trade going on in limited fashion compared to today, right? Now the Spanish flu went around the Earth 3 times, 3 times, and I'll show you that. I'll show you the graph on that. But the first time it killed a shitload of people. The second time it killed like triple. And then the third time, it was a little milder than the first time. Okay? Before it ran its course. So it's not only just, okay, we're going to be out of supplies. We're going to run out of pharmaceuticals. We won't be able to work. Okay? Whether you're holding up in your home or you're sick, you're too sick to work to get over the virus. And I didn't show you my pie chart, but I'll go back and show it to you. So, but if 90% of the workforce can't work, you know, then we're done. Like I say, the panic button should hit Canada about June. So get your seed, get your heirloom seed, heirloom seed, and what do they call that for growing sprouts and shit. Get what you can, because you do need nutrition. I mean, I could go out in the bush and make pine cone fucking tea. Right, the bush is right here, and most of the folks up here, we only got a handful of hunters up here. A lot of the folks here just came from suburban Vancouver, suburban Calgary, suburban something. They've never gardened in their life. They've never had to hunt. So, they're fucked. Um, Communities, and the reason I was playing these guys here with the drums, right? Scottish band. That was Last of the Mohicans in their twisted style. But we don't have a community base within this nation anymore. There's no more community base. It's too funny. I mean, there might be still in rural Saskatchewan, but I noticed the way the public services work, and they're working, with the banks and everybody else to basically take over all the family farms. Right now, we don't have real family farms much anymore because all our farms were forced into becoming corporations for tax reasons. Therefore, these corporations and the property thereof are under the parent company. All right. So, and then the banks wouldn't deal with the family farm. But they'll deal with the corporate farm. And so that's why so many family farms had to go corporate just to survive. There's Saskatchewan, man, and you try and grow potatoes in clay, like up here in the mountains. Good luck. Good luck. The reason Ukraine can grow such wonderful food, why it's a breadbasket, is they got 2 feet of topsoil. I think the prairies has a couple of inches topsoil on average spread around. So just think about that. All right. So what was the other thing? Yeah. Taters don't grow well in clay. It sucks. But it's a good mainstay and it's a good storage. It's something, if you can grow it, you can grow a lot of it, and it's good storage and cold storage. But a lot of people are going to be fucked because people don't know how to grow food. People don't know how to hunt. People don't know how to fish. There's so many things that you downtown Torontarians, whatever you are, won't be able to do for yourselves, except for do your best to blockade yourself in. Now, when the criminals come to your door, remind them that you believe in you don't believe in gun rights. When the criminals come to your door to rob you, make sure that you tell them that it's important that they give up their weapons, because you don't believe in guns, and therefore they shouldn't come to your home and invade your home with guns. All right. So you guys make sure to tell them that. Use guys. That's a Winnipeg term. Use guys. I just wanted to give a thank you, and I'm sorry this is not a complete list, and if I didn't mention your name, it's not because I'm not grateful, but I am, and I am thankful for every man and every woman putting their asses out here in the World Wide Web to talk about the shit going on within this nation and within this poser public service we have that is taking over the country, guys. Like, they're taking over your lives. They're taking over the nation. This nation will be changed very soon. That's Trudeau's whole agenda, the Liberal Party's whole agenda, the Greens Party's whole agenda. When Elizabeth May once said a number of years back that Canadians are stupid. Well, Canadians are stupid. Um, if but there's those of mankind on this land that aren't stupid, right? But you just take a look at what the fuck is going on. And here's the other thing: we're allowing it. We're allowing it. You know, how many communities? How many communities have gotten together to move blockades out of their way in their neighborhood so that they can continue with their right to pass through, to operate on public roads? Look at the criminal code. You'll find out that the public has a right to access. The public doesn't need permission from coppers, doesn't need permission from government, doesn't need permission from these whatever the fuck, these professional protesters that Trudeau's allowing to disturb our commerce, to rip down the country. Oh, and that's another thing. This really pisses me off. Okay, now you guys out east, all right, Ontario and Quebec. In the 80s, Mulgooney shut down our passenger train out west. Okay, shut it down, and then gave a whack of money to Amtrak and that to expand in Ontario and Quebec. So we haven't had passenger rail service for years, for over 30 years. And I don't really feel that bad for you guys not having your rail service. All right? Because we've been doing without for 30 years. So, okay, so you got bus, you got plane, you got car. Now, so the bus, we don't have the bus service out west. All right? We don't have the bus service out west. Now, what's next? Okay, the car. Now the coppers, if they believe, if they believe, but the coppers don't have to have a reason to pull you over, take your fucking property. Now, of course, when you act as a driver, you are acting under the office as a driver under the corporate body politic, okay? And therefore, you have no property rights. And don't forget that when you insure, or not insure, but when you when you insure your vehicle with the government insurance, you give up all your rights. And you have to claim that you are a resident. And if you go into the War Manual, that every free nation has part of the War Manual from the Geneva Convention that lines up with the Geneva Convention, you'll find that a residence is a place that the occupying army appoints you. Okay, that's what a residence is. Now, my buddy Carl, I was just talking to him the other day, and he's saying, well, it just means where you leave your residue. Okay, but under the War Measures Act, under the War Manual that all the allies, NATO uses, we all have our own style, the Canadians, the Americans, but they're basically all the same, and they all pretty much agree. And so, they show you what a person is, what a citizen is, what a resident is, So, anyways, but the thing is, anytime you register property, you're giving it to the state. All right, you're basically giving it to the state. You're saying, I'm this person of the corporate body. I'm registering this property. It now goes into the public store for the state, and now they hold first ownership, and I only come in as second owner as long as I obey the rules that they set out for me. Have insurance, have a license. They do that with your homes. They do that with everything that you register. This is why they wish to have everything registered. Registration, the only use for registration that's any good is for the protection of property of man. Right? So, how many folks have ever written a letter saying, hey, this registration only for the purpose of the protection of my property? Do not presume or assume that I have given my authority, my ownership, my property over to the state, and so on and so forth. So, anyways, those are other things, you know, that I started showing these guys how to write fucking notices and stuff, but I think a lot of guys just don't get it. They just don't see the importance, and the legal society does know the difference. And so through our ignorance, you know, we're going to have our asses kicked, and then we're going to yell, complain, kick and scream. I knew that they were going to state the charges before Buddy did the private prosecution, and I'm not hacking on them. What was it, the guys from Facts versus Feelings? Max and Rex, I believe. No. Anyways, but at least they're doing, you know, they are doing something, getting noticed, and the only way you can learn to understand something or learn about something or have knowledge and wisdom and talent with something is if you actually practice it. So, you know, there's the chip eaters at home that don't practice shit, and then there's those of us that have taken doing the best we can what we have, and that's why I appreciate it, and I'm very thankful to Mark and Jeremy, Derek, all the folks at Rebel, Faith, Frank, Cranky Frankie, Adam, AJ, Critical, Laura, JVC Dude, True North, all the folks at True North, Press for Truth, Facts versus Feelings, Maxine, Rex Murphy. No, Rex is a patriot. As far as I'm concerned, that's what I believe. Norman, Kevin, I think those are the guys from Facts versus Feelings. Quick Dick, Jordan Peterson, Duck, I'm a Stoner, Sam, BC Barbie, Ellie, Polly, Cam Pulley, Two Angry Dudes. Every one of you guys, and plus the ones I didn't mention. I just wish to thank you guys for putting your asses out there. I know it takes a lot of guts, but this attack over the last 12 months on freedom of speech and freedom of the press, it's basically been about a year, you know, just over a year since this has started happening. This is all about turning us into a dictatorship. They're going to have, if they can create chaos, then what they can do is they can come out and fix the chaos they created, and then they'll have their new Canada, their new platform, right? So that's what's going on. You know, I so badly wanted to do a show on this, on the Ezra thing. I've been wanting to do it and since it came out, I went, this is perfect. But I'll get at it. I like the funny little Jew. I think he's funnier than hell. Now this guy here, this fella here, he created a model. That's what he does for a living, right? So they should have had him do the CO2 models. Now, well, guess what? He'd find out that CO2 only rises when the heat rises. The heat doesn't rise when the CO2 rises. And that's your big lie. And all it takes, listen, all it takes is one drop of poison to ruin a whole glass of water. Now it's not water, now it's poison. So just remember that. These droplets of poison they're putting into our children, they're putting into society, they got droplets of poison coming at everybody from every direction. You know, why is it now? So this virus thing, okay? Let's just say a whack of us gets sick. Let's just say that our workforce has to shut down, say 10%, 20%, 30%. It's going to be worse. But let's just say, all right, all that happens. If you can't farm now anywhere where the Monsanto seed, okay, and I'm not talking about GMO, okay, because we've been genetically modifying things with nature for years, right? Apples and oranges and stuff. But I'm talking about the stuff with the fertilizer in the seed and so on and so forth. Okay, the stuff that burns out the soil. But every one of those farms that I see in the prairies today, flourishing, that we'll see this summer, flourishing a year from now, or maybe even this summer, if they're not planted with GMO seed, if people can't produce GMO seed, if we have no truckers to truck the seed, if you know, if the workforce breaks down and those and we can't put that GMO seed back in, or I should say, just let me say Monsanto seed back in the ground can't grow food for 7 years on the land that's been growing this shit. All right. Now it's kind of cool. Some GMO stuff I think is cool, but I do know that the Monsanto seed with the fertilizer encased in it and that bug resistant, weed resistant, it destroys the soil. So that's going to be a shitload of farmland that won't be able to be farmed if the workforce collapses within this nation. Now, if we were folks here within this nation, within the corporate body politic, we're coming on to Chrétien back in the 90s. Hey, we need to label all the food that has GMO. And what they found in Europe was they forced the governments in Europe to label anything with GMO on it, and people just stopped buying it. And this is why Monsanto pulled out, because they didn't have a market anymore. Now, it's the common thought that the governments ran them out. No, the governments didn't run them out. The people ran them out by not buying their product. Therefore, they were losing money. Therefore, there's no market. So let's go over to the fucking idiots, okay, all the dumbasses, and let's go do it over there, right? And let's go destroy the soil, and let's go bankrupt neighboring farmers that our seed blows onto their land, and so on and so on and so forth, right? So the whole idea of manning up, to man up, is so that you know how to stand with all your rights intact, okay, lawfully, not showing up as a child of the state, with your babysitter representing you as a legal person because he has a license to babysit persons and those of mankind as well, and the babysitter talking to Big Daddy or Big Mommy, Big Daddy in the black robe, all right, and you just sit there and cry or look this or look that. That's where everybody's at. And I'm sorry about what's her face on the coast. I'm sorry about that man and his kid. That this man would allow the state to do such a thing and not be able to, not know enough to man up to and go get his property. These guys. Slavery is outlawed in all its forms on this land. If somebody gives you an order, you fulfill the order, and you send them a bill. I won't get too much into that, but yeah, how do you collect on the bill? There's many ways to collect on the bill. Many ways. All right? I mean, the basic is small claims court. Well, small claims, and my bill is 367.26 billion, trillion. Guys, that's not how you operate. True bill, a verifiable bill. Yes, they have to pay. Everybody has to pay. Anytime you get given an order. I mean, but I want to get back on, I wish to get back on this, because I think this is actually really, really important. I think a lot of us, on the computer model I have, we're looking at about 2.6 million Canadians dying within. Let me just check this out here. Hang on a second. I got over 2.6 million, so 2,600,000 Canadians dead within 264 days, so in less than a year from our first case, which was on the 25th of Jan. All right. I got 91% workforce disruption, 7% that just can't work, and a 2% workforce. So unaffected. Okay, so population infected. Now this doesn't mean deaths, but population infected, I'd say 9% uninfected according to this model, and 91% infected. All right. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of folks that die here. Now, I really feel for the guys in the city. But so this guy is a smart man. Smart man. He's I'm gonna just play him for a minute. I gotta go take a whiz anyways. Grab a coffee. I'm just gonna play this for a minute, and I want you to pay attention to this part.
Putting up the folder so we can get the file together. Virus timeline explained. And I'll open that for you. And for those that are not familiar, because unfortunately the video I made was super long, but it was just the way it was. And what I'll do here for you now quickly is maybe just go through this so you can see how it pans out. Now, so what David's talking about is, we'll just recap quickly and then we'll talk about the problem, is where we're on this website, and you know they've got this disparity between the number infected. We don't know anything about 50,000 people yet, right? So this is how it works. This is the coronavirus timeline. I think what we'll do is we'll quickly whip away that so we can see, and I'll just zoom in here quickly. This is a graphic design tool that I use for producing these kind of whiteboard type demonstrations. And I'm sure you can see this on your screen at home, Barry, yeah? We call each other Barry, by the way. All of our crew back in the day, everyone was called Barry, don't ask me why, or Bazamataz, or Razamataz, or Baza. So, this is the timeline that I created as a prototype, looking at the typical timeline of the coronavirus as it plays out. So this is an R0 of 0.0, so they basically don't infect anyone. So just for the purposes of making it easy to follow, we have Business Brian here from the R0 infection rate explained video, and he basically gets infected, and for this period of time, X number of days, and again, that is subject to debate in terms of the incubation days. They're saying up to 24 days potentially you could be carrying this and spreading it around to untold numbers of people without even knowing it, right? So, time machine we want, sorry. Back to time machine, back to Business Brian. So what happens is during this time he would infect people. This is a 0.0 R0, so he's not going to infect anyone, but to give you an idea how the timeline plays out. At some point in time he starts to feel ill. He'll go to the hospital, by which time they'll run various tests and they'll get him hooked up to some machines, take his blood oxygen level and his pulse and things like this. And if he's got the coronavirus still, obviously they'll need to send off a test kit to see what he's got, and there'll be various resources needed to treat him with, you know, intensive care units and oxygen tanks and all the rest of it. And then at some point in time, here I've got day 12, just as an example, at some point in time, there'll be a conclusion as to what happened to Business Brian. Did he recover? Did he not? And so on. And so what I'm going to quickly do is I'm going to give you an idea of what we'll just skip straight to an R3.0, because we'll just skip straight to an R3.0 infection rate, right? And what this allows you to do is, if you consider the fact that Business Brian has this timeline cycle of progressing through, and this is where he would infect 1, 2, 3 people in this period of, sorry, let me just delete that one so that you can see. So R3.0 is essentially means that this
Okay, so basically, he's got a 5-day incubation period. Now, don't forget this government virus uh, is they believe up to a 24-day incubation period. Okay, so that means like it because it's um, asymptomatic. All right, so it's airborne, it's aerosol. Okay, so fluids, droplets, as well as airborne, and they know this for a fact. And you know the thing was, so here's here's the clowns that hate your guts, that act as our public servants. All right, here's these freaking clowns and the WHO after they were told by Chinese scientists, after they were told by China, admitting that this was airborne. Okay, after they were told, they're still going on. Oh well, you know we believe it might be. All right, now these shills at CBC. All right, there's going to come a time here where you're not going to see any of these reporters out reporting. Right, they're going to do everything from studio because they don't want to get mixed in with the crowd. These are part of the elites. Now, what I believe is there's two types of elites. There's intellectual elites, and then there's the monetary elites. All right, and sometimes they get along, and sometimes they don't. Right. So there's two 1%er groups. Now these intellectual elites, all right, are these shills that they're state broadcasters. They're state broadcasters. They're propaganda informants. That's all they do. They give you propaganda. They don't tell you the truth. Whenever they're forced into admitting some kind of truth, it's always watered down to the benefit of the public service, to the benefit of the shills, but never to the benefit of you and I. They're saying that you can't. You're a child. You're a child and you can't handle the truth. This is what they bring across to us constantly. I listen to these fucking idiots sometimes on CBC. I listen to some of these fucking idiots that call into CBC. It's the only radio station pretty much I can get up on a mountain, but you know I do listen to it sometimes. Sometimes I just gotta shut it off. Sometimes I mean it's just fucking. Sometimes they just can't take it, you know. But they're twisting. All right, the Canadian media. It's all paid off. Well, you guys at Global and CBC and or CTV and all you guys at the other stations, all you guys to get the crumbs from CBC's table. All right, you're not going to be as protected because you're not part of the actual establishment. Okay, you're crumb bearers. You're the dogs. Okay, you're the dogs at the king's table eating the crumbs that fall from the table. Okay, that's. If you don't know this by now, you're kidding yourself. But those folks and certain folks at CBC, nah, they're part of the elite group. Okay, they're part of the elite group. And you won't be seeing those guys out in public when this thing takes hold at all. In fact, you're going to probably fairly soon, if my model is correct, okay, now I'm using his model. This is the man that created it. But if my model is correct, I'm saying, okay, now it's not going to be exact because no model is exact. But the way I figured ours out for Canada, right now, you know, I got the 18th of so yesterday, as of yesterday, I got, in my model, I got 9 people infected while there's 8 people infected, okay? So, but I have by the 1st of next month, 24 people infected. So if we even come even close to that, you know that this man's model is worthy of paying attention to. I'm going to show you where to download the model as well. You can just, it's free. This guy put it up. It's free source, man. All right, it's not full of weird shit or nothing, but it is free source. He's a family man just like everybody else. He's over in Merry Old, England, which is going to get hit pretty hard. You know, Cranky Frankie. Right? A lot of people coming on to him about being alarmist, but he has good reason. A good reason, and he's paying good attention to it. And he's obviously a passionate man or a passionate person, you know. I wish he'd fucking learned something about the law, the difference between legal and lawful, so he'd have a better understanding of, or a better concept of you know, what is law and what's the customs of the people, and where those two fit together, and then where legal is, the color of law is. You know, it's too bad. It's too bad, because I think he'd be a good voice for. Well, he might be. I mean, you know, he gets yelling at everybody in this and that, but he's pretty good. He's, you know, he does pretty good. And one of my favorites is that we sit around the old school radio watching is, of course, Mr. Raging. Yeah, I really enjoy him. And he speaks a lot of truth too. But you know, I'm just so sorry that everybody has it in their mind that there's some kind of citizen, there's some kind of legal person. They can't see beyond the person to the foundation of you know, how they were created. The government never created anybody, okay, or anyone. Government only creates persons. Government was created by man. They're our bitch. We're not their bitch. They have the guns. They're after the guns. They're going to be after the guns. But free speech, freedom of movement, free press, and guns. This isn't just a Cuba style. I mean, Trudeau. Well, it might be more of a Cuba style than the Chinese style, but Trudeau and the media are doing exactly what China government and their media are doing. If that doesn't alarm anybody, I don't know what does. All right, I just saw a picture of a doctor in one of those. You know, have you seen those chairs where they got you cuffed in the chair? Not just cuffed, like they got these clamps that clamp you down. And I don't know if you guys have seen that shit, right? Because the doctor was trying to, for the betterment of the people there, letting everybody know what the hell's going on. Yeah. So a lot of the citizen reporters, you know, what you guys call as citizen reporters, have disappeared that I was listening to. I've seen some pretty weird shit. I listened to the president of Singapore. He seems like a pretty cool dude. He seems to actually care about the people. I sure hope so. But let's get on with this guy's model and watch how this, you know, watch how this expands. I was going to say exponentially, but I didn't want to sound like that old guy that's trying to run for president. The old guy with Alzheimer's that's running for president. That's fucking funny. Anyways.
This chap is going to pass it on to 3 other people in the process of his incubation period until he feels unwell, because at this point he's asymptomatic, so he's not feeling bad at all. He doesn't even know he's got it. But when we get to here he feels ill, he goes to the hospital and so on, and this is how the timeline plays out for Business Brian. But the point we're going to do now, you see, is we're going to load it up, because bear in mind, Business Brian here, he's going to infect 3 other people. So let's imitate that now with our R3 prototype example that I built. So we load him on here. Basically, he infects another person, right? And don't forget, this person also will infect 3 other people themselves, right? So you can probably guess what's going to happen. So what we need to do is to put someone on each of these individual infection points here. Yeah, and again, I'm just copying and pasting these chaps. There's one there to put him on. This one needs one there, but look at this one. There's two overlapping, so we'll go one there and put one above him. There's another one here, look. There's two on top of each other there, so let's get them in there. Plus there's one there as well. Oh, look, we're getting tricky. So there's 1, 2, 3 there. Then there's one there. Then there's two there. And I'm sure everyone at home's going, oh, you're missing one, Andy. Look, there's one there. There's one there. There's one there. Right. So this is what we've got. And I've only played this through over a couple of days, right, with a couple of people. Yeah. What you first will see is that this is an exponential curve, look. Yeah. Just like we see on the coronavirus prediction tool, where we see this sudden almighty spike go up, yeah, with this duplication that's happening, right? And so we've got that same thing happening here. But what you're pointing out there, David, is the fact that there's a bunch of people we don't know about. But look, if we fast forward in time, yeah, we're about here. We're about here in time on the scale of it. And so we only know about one outcome. But look at all the people that are turning up in the hospital. Look at all the resources required. Look, the tests haven't even been done on these people yet. We don't even know if they've got it or yet or not. But look at all the people that are already infected. And I've not even filled these dots in yet. Bloody hell. I mean, I'm literally, you know.
Some people in the chat were mentioning that these big numbers of people with mild cases that are obviously not ill enough to be reported as totally recovered.
Yeah.
Surely they would be added as totally recovered if they had, even if they had a mild case. They still have to note it down as someone who got over it.
Well, not only that, I've seen reports recently saying that in fact people can get infected again, and when they get infected again, they end up with stuff like heart failure. It's even worse. Yeah. So there is no, I don't think it's a case of, oh, you get infected and then all of a sudden your immune system attacks it and then you're all good to go and you're not going to get it again. That's just not how it works. Certainly not from the latest reports that are coming out. But I hope you can see here why I said to people back in a couple of videos ago that really what we need is this. Was a time machine, wasn't it? Right? And I said take your pick of any of these three time machines, because that is the only way we can possibly stop the coronavirus, is because you've got this, you know, you've got this situation with Business Brian where it's infecting 3 people, and then you fast forward in time and you end up with this sheer number. And again, you know, that's reflected perfectly.
So even if you've got a time machine, you've got to then convince.
So there you go. Yeah, I know I can hear a lot of people, you know, calling this down, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. A lot of people are desensitized to emergencies, state emergencies, world emergencies, because we hear it all the time. Okay, the sky is falling in, the sky is falling in, the sky is falling in. The shills that operate within the corporate body that we call a public service, or that I call a public service, public servants, have been crying wolf and lying about shit for years. The state-run media, Canada should never have a state-run media. I don't even know why we have a state-run media. I mean, how hard would it be to, okay, let's take the $1.6 billion. You know, somebody like Global or CTV or somebody, I think they run on like a $350 million budget a year, okay? But you take this $1.6 billion. Let's just say we could afford these fucks, right? You got $1.6 billion. Let's say we got that in the kitty, all right? Now, how hard would it be for us to give grants out to independent news stations that we don't pick and choose, that they do it on a merit basis? So let's say let's say, you have a news body, what you guys call citizen news group, like Rebel Media, for instance, and they've reached, 1 million followers, 300,000 followers, something like that. Okay, whatever. Then they might be eligible for a grant, um, for equipment and shit. I mean, we give it to Loblaws. We give it to fucking Loblaws. Okay, we gave it to Maple Leaf. Isn't it Maple Leaf in Ontario that killed all those people in Ontario? Didn't we just give them $6 million after they did a $5 million payout to the people they killed, or to the families of the people they killed? And now they're moving over to fucking merry old England, closing the plant in Ontario. What the fuck is wrong with us? This is bullshit. The other good thing I see is that with this global trade, so-called trade, that this virus, and this is this is one of the reasons why I believe it got out by accident, is just for the simple fact that China wouldn't want to give up their power over the world, and they have a lot of power over the world and over a lot of countries because of what they've done with their manufacturing and intellectual theft and so on and so forth. So I know Vietnam's coming up, and they're not stealing people's intellectual. They're actually playing a fair game. They wish to have the business, and they wish to have the jobs. They wish to get their country, on track. And so Vietnam is looking like a very good place for corporate, world corporate fucking companies to start operating in. But personally, I like Trump. Oh, this flag back here, okay? Just as a disclaimer, that's my kids. I just wanted to cover my books. You don't need to see my books. Well, a lot of it's professional stuff, but for my profession. But anyways, I just didn't have another flag, and I stopped carrying Canadian flag once, like years ago. Because people don't know the difference between the country and the fucking nation, and it just pisses me off. I'd like to get an ensign, actually, but right now, I've got alcohol. I've got gloves. I've got masks, but they're really don't do much except for if you've got the virus to keep other people from getting it. For the most part, that's the mask situation. It ain't gonna stop you from getting it. What else do I got? A little bit of food and stuff. Gonna stock up on some fuel, guys. We're gonna end up with. You think these fucking protesters that are coming up from the states, these Sierra Club and fucking all these shill fun like guys. These guys are professional protesters coming up from a different country, all right, to tell us how we're gonna run our nation. And Trudeau's just loving it because he's part of the whole problem. Trudeau's part of the whole problem with this nation. I mean, he's like the gate. Okay, the prime minister is kind of like a gatekeeper for the nation, and he's opened up the fucking floodgates. And attack. Go ahead, attack everybody and get rid of all those nationalists, all those people that believe they are part of a nation. You got to get rid of them. Because I've declared this is a post-nation state, and I'm going to show you the new nation. And you can just call him Trudeau Xi, Prime Minister Xi, for short. So, I got off track. Oh, so I was just looking at something else I wanted to show you. Where am I? Oh, I'm already up here. Am I? Oh, no, I'm not. No. 332. Jeez, I just get going here. Oh, now I want to show you something. Now, this is going to show you um, how the whole flight system worked. Okay, in a 24-hour period on, I believe it was January 25th. Okay, guys, or maybe it was January 21st. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this just for a second.
The fan and everyone got made redundant because the industry collapsed, that you would have an offshoot of loads of people suddenly no job, no money, going around robbing people.
I think because retail in general is a big factor in most cities.
Yeah.
Retail is, I mean, the percentage of stuff imported is far outweighs what we actually produce as a country.
I think UK's not in a bad position, in as much as we do a lot of agriculture. We do make a lot of our own stuff. We fortunately make a lot of our own meds as well. Welcome to the channel, Sondra, by the way.
How many people work in a chain, like in a shop?
Yeah.
That relies on stuff coming in from China. Most of them.
I just want to answer a question from Kelly quickly, who's just asked me there in the chat, what do you think about containment efforts? I'll tell you what I think about containment efforts. Sorry, carry on, Barry. I'm just putting the clip of the all of the aircraft leaving China. The third of the aircrafts that left China from the 19th of January until the 29th of January. Don't believe me, you can see the date ticking away at the bottom there. What does it say? January the 20th at the moment. This doesn't even got to the end of the day yet, and this is all
Right? Okay, but we're still taking them in from China. Guys, how is this spreading? Vancouver and Toronto are fucked. I phoned my son the other day. I said, take a leave, get your fucking ass home. You know, he's on the coast. And, because of the play down of the seriousness of this killer government virus, he ain't taking it serious. And I'm sorry to say, when this thing hits, I won't be able to accept him at home because you can't put the rest of this family at risk. We're going to do our precautions. So I can't allow it. And we're going to hunker in, you know. But that's what you're seeing there is the flights for one fucking day and not even the end of the one day. All right?
all the flights that are left on just the 20th. Now we're on the 21st, and look at all the flights leaving. This is a third. If you try and do any more than that, the system crashes. This is the one that holds all the telemetry data for all flights that left China between the 19th and the 29th. We're on the January the 22nd. This is only day 2, people. This is day 2, and look at the number of flights that are leaving. That's what I think about the containment efforts. There are none. Yeah? 5 million people left China and went everywhere else in the world. So what do you reckon about that? Or at least 5 million people were milling around China throughout the Chinese New Year, and then they all jumped on a plane and went back to their home countries. Yeah? So it does look like ants, you're absolutely right. And every single one of those planes has got 1,000 people on it. Well, it's got like 300 people, but let's just assume because you can only show a third of the flights, you might as well just say, well, there's 3 times the number that there really are, so in that case, that's like 1,000 people on each.
Yeah, and so all these busy bees you see flying out of Toronto, or out of China, the computer can only show you a third of the flights that were leaving because it was too active and the software wouldn't take it. Right? So what you're seeing here is a third of the flights. And the other thing I wish to just bring across to everybody is, if you notice, places that haven't really been hit, Africa, or that we know about, right? But Africa and South America, if you look at these flight paths, and these are real flight paths, and these are real flights that left, but only a third of the ones that left. All right. If you take a peek there, you'll see they're not really going to Africa and not really going to South America. And somebody had a theory that, well, they say the virus can't live in over 60 degrees Celsius. It can't live, can't survive. All right. I wish I would have built that sauna. But there's somebody else saying, hey, you know, countries that are 85 degrees plus Fahrenheit don't seem to be getting the virus. But I think it's just because of the lack of flights going to these places. So we'll see what happens. You know, maybe Africa will take over the planet after we're all fucking dead, if that's the truth. We'll find out. But yeah, this only represents 1/3 of the flights that left China.
Each of them little planes, man. Do not assume it's not in your town. You must assume your next door neighbour has it. You have to assume even David's got it. Innit? Yeah.
So how do you like me so far? Well, I really don't give a fuck. So, yes, we're going to have to go, I believe that we're going to have to go back to communities, and the communities are going to have to stick up for each other. That means neighbors, you know, people that you've never talked to, that you've lived beside for 10 years. That's the other thing. You know, tribal isn't so bad, really. And if you can get tribes to make peace, neighboring tribes to make peace with each other, that's not so bad. But this whole world government thing, world trade, I think is going to be, oops, not that way, is going to be brought to a nice slowdown, if anything, you know. I am trying to get somewhere here. Okay, here we go. There's one last thing I wanted to show you something here. Let's just bring this guy up one more time.
Player. Do you remember when he stitched his own head up? With a needle and thread? What was his name? Stuart or something, was it? He was a lovely guy. He wasn't like a burly, normal doorman, like, oh, your name's not Dan, you're not coming in. You know, he was quite a nice chap at university. He was on the rugby team. But I remember he stitched his own head. He got a big cut on his head that he got in rugby. And he literally just stitched it up himself with a needle and thread. I think he was probably a little bit drunk, but it looked alright. I was like, fair play. And you can buy little suture kits. You know, so you can stitch yourself up basically. And like I say, I've got a friend of mine who did actually learn to stitch up skin. Do you know what they use, by the way? Do you know what you use to practice stitching skin? Banana skin. That's what medical. That's how they're taught to do it. They stitch banana skin together, and apparently it's quite similar. Yeah. Like where you peel down two edges, right? If you try and stitch that back together. So you can buy suture kits. It's worth doing because again, you know, if you've got a situation where you cut yourself because you're being stupid, and I keep saying to my son who's 11, dude, man, we can't be taking any risks. Yeah, and it's difficult because he's a kid, man. He needs to be out there playing. He needs to be doing his thing. But then you think, well, if you get a broken arm or you get a bad cut or whatever.
I must have lost my spot for that one. But speaking of which, you know, being tradesman, crazy glue was designed to replace stitches. Get down to the dollar store, get yourself some fucking crazy glue, and get the ones that come with a bunch of little tubes. because you know what happens when you open up a tube. It goes bad on you. So I just wanted to show folks some of the stuff I was studying. Um, get prepared to lose, 2.5 million people just within this nation. Um, let's see. Okay, so here's a man that makes this model. You can't tell me that all the scientists around the world, WHO and all the other shills, um, uh, don't have their computer models. They know this is happening, know this is coming. And Trudeau is the very last, pretty much very last guy to pretend to take this virus serious within this nation. Who's he after? The boomers? Is that how they're going to save some of their budget from retirees? Just get rid of them all? Let the virus take us out in less than a year? 2.5 million pensions you don't have to pay. Hey? So, yeah, it's not going to be good. Maybe it's to destroy the world economy so that they can do a restart and say, well, and they're going to blame it on people. They're going to blame it on the folks. Well, hey, folks, you got people and it's your fault and it's your fault. And so this way we're going to come up with these laws and, nobody's free and you have to have the government's permission to do this and to do that and so on and so forth. That's pretty much what's going to happen. The only governments that I see doing anything for the people, well, fucking Trump's doing a hell of a job, or better than most. I think England should be taking this a lot more serious. Why don't they take over some kind of apartment buildings or something so that they can use quarantine, and then everybody can or hotels, right? So you get the public servants, right? To say rent some pretty big, rent out some pretty big hotels, right? The biggest ones in the densely populated areas. And then, okay, now we got our place to start our quarantines, so that we can keep people separated. Why? Because they just don't give a shit. Everybody's just going to end up in trouble. I thought I had that at 450. 450. Let me just check this again. I wanted to show you the lineup of people. Damn. Just the lineup of people. Like, when this hits, the hospital's going to be full of people. And everybody's going to be running to the hospital. Oh, here's something else I wanted to look at. Okay, so let's look at this map. Is it up? Yeah, okay. So let's take a look at this map. All right, so we got totally confirmed 8, and in my model, I got it as close as I could set it to real time at 9. That doesn't mean there isn't 9, but let's just refresh this. Now, so what these guys are putting out, let's go hit Canada. Okay, so here we go. There's Canada. But look at this. They're showing one in Vancouver. They're not showing the one in the interior of British Columbia. They're showing TO and they're showing London. They say we've got one who totally recovered. All right. That's what I was looking for, was that graph too. All right, but now this spike here, these numbers suck. Okay, these numbers just suck because they weren't testing for it. People were dying at home. There's bodies all over the place they still haven't collected yet. The new test kits came out here, and then all of a sudden they shot up because the new test kits, I don't know if they're totally accurate, but a little more accurate than the first ones. I don't know why they're taking people's temperatures and letting them go by, because it's You don't have to have any symptoms. You don't have to have a fever to spread it. So I really don't get that. So yeah, we've failed. Okay, the whole system has failed. These elitists, these world elitists and world dictators and wannabe dictators like Trudeau have failed. They're all failed. Okay, it's going to be up to us. But what I wanted to show you was the graph. Shit. I wanted to show you the graph. I thought I had the graph. Hang on. Hang on. There's the hospitals. The Spanish flu graph I wanted to bring up. And the Spanish flu graph is pretty fucking interesting. Right, this is a picture of the quarantine tents back in the day. And remember, back when the Spanish flu hit, we didn't have world trade and world travel like we used to. But I guess they're going to be able to get rid of that, won't they? Hey, you can't travel unless you get a permit. You can't go out of your area. Your credits cards, your card with your credits on it, only work out of your area if you're a special person with special permission. Yeah, all those things I was learning that you guys are just learning now about the one world government. All those things. This is a perfect way to bring it all forward and make it all happen. I can't find the graph, but I wanted to show you the frickin' thing. I thought it was around here somewhere. Let's go back here to. Is it here? Oh well. So Spanish flu went around the planet, and then went around the planet again, and killed over 2 times as many people as the first time, and then it went around the world again. Okay, so if you think the coronavirus, okay, we got. And don't forget to pray for those families. Well, pray for everyone here. I guess I should be saying pray for each man and woman that acts as a public servant within this nation, because we're all going to need it. This is going to destroy us. Day late and a dollar short. But I think clanning up is probably the smartest thing to do in the future. Just in your neighborhoods, knowing who's who, and keeping each other's back, and keeping the cops at bay. They obviously don't work for the public. They only work for the corporate body politic. They're obviously there to protect political favoritism and not enforce the laws of this land or enforce the keeping of the peace, so that folks can get on with their day-to-day lives. I hear him say it over and over and over again. I'm hearing him say it lots. Well, I'm just these are my orders. These are my orders. Just like the Nazis, those left-wing Nazis of Germany, World War II. The Nazis weren't right-wing. They were right of the communists. All right, it was the socialists. They were socialists. Right? Not quite communists, socialists. Right? So, anyways, I'm going to call it a day, and I will see you later.